everybody? My name is Marchant Young, and you're watching Get Wrecked. This is episode number 5, and I'm super excited about this one. This one is a little bit important for me, just because he's a little bit of a childhood friend, and he's got his own business. So without further ado, I wanted to introduce my man Wesley Bloom. Wesley, what's going on, brother?
How's it going, man? It's good to see you.
I know, it's been a long time. I feel like growing up playing baseball, I mean, we saw each other almost every weekend, and now this is about probably, the third time in the last 10 years or something like that?
Yeah, literally. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy.
Meeting up with old friends, and obviously, as you can see behind me, Wesley's got a little bit of a thing going on. It's kind of blowing up here over the last couple years, but he's got some really cool things that he's kind of done since college. But I don't want to tell you any of the story. I want him to. So Wesley, how'd you get going with all this, and what is WiseGuys Pro Wash?
Yeah, so I started pressure washing when I was in college, the summer before my sophomore year of college. So we're the same age, you know. Yeah. So we graduated high school both in 2013. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so 2013. And so it was the summer before sophomore year, and I got the idea to pressure wash over the summer to make some extra money. And that was really kind of all I wanted to do. Was I wanted to make $3,000 over the summer.
It was a number. You were like $3,000.
3,000. That's all I wanted to do, and that was essentially what I had deemed that I would have made in my other job at the time. You know, it was kind of like, if I make 3,000 in my job and then 3,000 pressure washing, like that'd be a pretty good summer. And so I did 3,000 the first 2 weeks. And so that's when I realized that, I think that there may actually be something here, where I can, maybe I can do more with this. And so, finished that first summer, did about 18,000 that first summer. And so
wow,
you can imagine. Yeah.
18 grand.
Yeah, 18,000. Yeah, and you don't really have costs.
In college, that's unheard of.
And at that point, it wasn't like an official business. Sure. It wasn't, WiseGuys Pro Wash. It was just, college student pressure washing. And so, it was towards the end of the summer when I realized that, I think I might actually be able to do something with this in terms of be able to pay for my college. Because I went to a small college in Tennessee, Maryville College, and to play football. And
what's their mascot?
The Scots.
The Scots.
The Fighting Scots.
Go Scots.
Yeah, and so so I went there, and it was a liberal arts school, and I had to pay for college myself, and so it was like I had two options: either I get a bunch of loans or I pay for it myself now. And so I saw it as kind of the opportunity to do that, and so I actually stopped playing football after my second season, and just kind of went all in on it. And every summer came back to Atlanta, came back home, and just worked the whole summer, and then hired other college kids, and then we graduated 2017, and so at that point I was able to pay for it all.
I mean, so you kind of a few points that I wanted to bring up. I mean, so you got college students that you're working with. I mean, when you think about that and what you can kind of provide for a kid that's coming back home, I don't know. I know what I normally got into when I was not working, and I would come home. I would work at a restaurant, but be out drinking, doing all that stuff. After at night and everything like that. But tell me a little bit about what that routine was like for a college kid after he's coming home, working with you and doing pressure washing.
Like back then.
Yeah.
So for them, it wasn't, it was really the guy that I had working for me at the time. He was playing football as well at my college, and so it was kind of a unique thing. In the morning, he would work out, and then he would basically just meet me on a job, and then we would basically just kind of work
just
together.
Rip it.
Yeah, it really didn't start getting like more structured until after we graduated.
Sure. Okay.
And so graduated 2017, so January of 2018 is when we changed the name to WiseGuys Pro Wash, and that was kind of like when things started to change.
And it was college student pressure washing?
Yeah, college student pressure washing before that. Yeah, so in terms of like for my employees, I didn't really have many employees at the time. It was really just kind of like, hey, I got this job, I really need some help, can you help me? And it was like,
just make a little sales call to your buddy, you're just like, I need your help.
It was like, I know you don't know how to do this, but I'll teach you. It was crazy.
I also know you're not doing shit.
Yeah,
so
it was like, come on, and like make some money for the day. And it's like funny to think back that, literally had no idea what we were doing. I mean, it was like, I didn't have any idea what I was doing, period. They definitely didn't know what they were doing. And I'm like trying to coach. It's like the blind leading the blind.
And you were just like, just make it look clean.
Yeah, I mean, it was like there was my first job that I did, and I started with one of my childhood best friends. We're still friends this day, Ryan Francis. He played, he played ball too, and so we started together the first summer, and the first job that we did, like, didn't know how to turn the machine on. Literally, I mean,
just like out in the driveway.
Just in a driveway, just ripping the cord, and it's like, maybe I'm just not pulling hard enough. Maybe I need to crow hop into it, and just rip it. So it just, I didn't know what a choke was. I mean, we were like calling his dad. It's like, how do we turn this on? He's like, well, did you try the choke? And it's like, what's a choke? And it just, and then we get the machine on, and then it was, it was a good 5 minutes later, and I shoot the tip off.
Right.
The pressure tip, just launch it into the neighbor's yard. I mean, it was pure just chaos, but at the same time, it was like, you don't know anything different, and, it's like,
But at the same time, I mean, it was called college student pressure washing. I mean, these people that were hiring you were like, all right, these guys, I mean, are coming out here, they're doing a job that, that obviously they didn't want to do. I mean, they're looking for your services, and you guys are taking the action and just trying to figure it out. And, I've talked about that before. It's like, you just got to put yourself out there and see what the hell happens.
100%.
And it sounds like that's exactly what you did when you figured out that you can make a little bit of money from it.
Yeah, I mean, with a little bit of time and YouTube, I mean, you can kind of learn a lot, a little YouTube university.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's what they always talk about. I think Gary Vee, I saw a Gary Vee video. He was like, if you ever want to learn anything, just go on to YouTube and dive for like a day, 2 days. And you can learn a lot about whatever.
Oh yeah, and now more than ever, I mean, not that there was no content back then.
Sure.
I mean, YouTube was still alive, but now it's even more. I mean, I'd come home at the end of the day, and I would eat dinner, and I would just watch YouTube videos on pressure washing and small business and all that sort of stuff. And it's like now a lot of my friends have these elaborate channels, with tons of videos,
right?
And all that. So yeah, you can do a lot.
Well, and really one of the biggest things that kind of popped off for me when I first saw, all this marketing going on was the colors. How did you come up with this? I mean, I guess you call it is it turquoise, or what is this, I don't even know the right color, teal, what?
I don't know what you'd call it, like a bright blue or some sort. It depends on where I'm looking for stuff, right? Like whatever they call it, I call it WiseGuys blue.
Okay.
So that's what I deem to be WiseGuys blue. What's interesting though is that I don't really like basketball, but I really like the Oklahoma Thunder's colors.
Okay.
And so I just copied it. So it's actually that is actually where the blue comes from. Is that I remember seeing games and like they had the blue on the court, and I just liked that blue a lot. It was my favorite color. And so I wanted something that would stand out, and I figured, they spent a lot of money figuring that orange and, this blue and a navy was a good combination, and so we basically just took their colors and then we made the blue like a little bit brighter,
right?
And the orange a little bit brighter, but it was pretty much kind of their marketing
straight from
team.
them. Yeah. What pops off? No, I like it because it's just different. If somebody just took one of those colors and just made it almost look a little bit ugly.
Right.
But the combination of everything, I honestly think it pops off, and I really like it. I mean, and that brings me to the whole WiseGuys thing. How did that name come about? Was it just a gut feeling, and you're like, all right, bang, name switch, WiseGuys?
So I didn't want to change the name, actually. I just wanted it to be College Student Pressure Washing. I just wanted an updated logo. And so I reached out to a designer and I was like, hey, can you update my logo, make it a little bit more professional? It was kind of it was like a clip art image almost that we had edited a little bit.
Sure.
And so, but it wasn't unique, so the designer was basically like, I can do that, but it's not a good idea. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, well, you're trying to build a business, and college students is not really a brand. If you ask someone who does your pressure washing and they say college students, that's not really, it doesn't sound like a company. It just sounds like a bunch of guys.
College students, yeah.
Yeah, and so I was like, that's a very valid point. And so I wanted to come up with a name that kind of tied back the story and the fact that I started when I was in college and the history and all that stuff. So I wanted something that would tie back, but something that was more branded,
sure.
More professional. And so My dad and I were on the phone, just kind of bouncing ideas back and forth, you know, like scholastic cleaning, you know, like scholar clean, you know, whatever, like these terrible names, and just going back and forth.
Brutal.
And so my dad goes, "WiseGuys," and I started laughing. We both laughed. We laughed, and then it was like, got right back to it, you know, like collegiate cleaning, you know, we just started going back on over it. And then I paused and I said, "Hey, when you said WiseGuys, were you being serious?" And he's like, "No, I wasn't, but honestly, now that I think of it, I kind of like it."
Yeah.
And so that's how we came up with the name. And so that's where part of the colors come into play, is that, you know, with WiseGuys, you know, it could be seen as like kind of the mob, kind of dark, you know, and so I didn't want it to be dark. So that's why we went with the bright colors to kind of offset that potential negative connotation.
Right, and that's an owl.
Yep. So so we got the owl with the graduation cap, which again, to furthermore kind of
bring the
eliminate
whole college side into it and everything.
Yeah,
like that.
and if you notice, you know, the tassel is on the side of the graduated side.
Oh, you know, I think I messed that up when I was graduating, so I don't think I would know either way.
I don't know which one it is now, but I guess I could look at the logo and figure it out. So I guess it's on your right.
Yeah, the right side. All right, so you bring it over. Okay, that kind of makes sense. No,
So-
I like it. I mean, like I said, the colors pop off and the name and everything like that. I think that's huge when it comes to marketing. If you have a name that people can remember, it's just like top of mind, like they're gonna call you first. It feels like it's like, I just remember that name. Those guys seem like they did a good job. You know, I'm gonna call them back, and it's repeat customers just because of a name.
Yeah.
But tell me a little bit about, I know this warehouse that we moved into. You kind of mentioned it before, but you know, when you moved in here, this was a big step for you guys. But tell me a little bit about like that process, the leap of faith you took and everything, and you know, kind of just going big.
Yeah, so when I was in college, the objective was just to pay for college, you know, and so, and what's funny, so that was the objective, and so, you know, I graduated, and I wasn't fully sure what I wanted to do after graduation. I mean, I kind of had an idea that I wanted to continue to pressure wash, but I didn't know to what extent. And so, you know, we graduated in May, and then over that summer I kept up, and it was basically kind of getting into the fall when I was like, you know what, I'm really going to do this, because I was trying to figure out, do I want to go to grad school? You know, I didn't really get much of a traditional college experience because I was just working the whole time, and so, you know, it was like, maybe I'd just go to grad school now. You know, I can afford it, I can just pay for it, you know, maybe kind of have fun, and so I needed to figure that out. So I decided that I wanted to see this through. I didn't want to stop because I didn't feel like we had done what I thought was possible.
Sure.
And so I didn't want to have any regrets on that. And so I decided to basically put all of the money that I had made into it. So it was like $100,000 at the time, you know, cumulative over all those years.
Right.
Yeah. And so it was like, that's what I had to decide was, you know, do I just sell the equipment and just kind of just use that to launch my, you know, career doing something else. And so, you know, I didn't have any full-time employees at this point. I only had college kids.
Sure.
And so you know, we didn't have an office or anything. So I decided that I wanted an office. And so I found a 1,500 square foot flex space, you know, warehouse in the back, office in the front.
Right.
And so I signed that lease. You know, it was a 1-year lease. You know, I bought a truck, a bunch of equipment, and a bunch of uniforms. I think I spent like $3,000 on uniforms. I didn't have an employee, and it was not really the best decision because I didn't know what sizes there were, so I just bought them all. You know, we got smalls and mediums and larges, you know, just all that. And so that was kind of the first year, and you know, we hit the goal that I had set that I just made up. You know, like, I think we can do this much, and we did it. And so it then became, what's the next step? And so that's when, you know, it took an even bigger leap of faith in signing the lease to the space where we are right now.
Right.
You know, it's about a 5,000 square foot space now. But when I signed the lease, it was a 2-year lease, you know, so it was, you know, it's about $50,000 a year for the space. And so, and I had to personally guarantee it. And when I signed the lease to the space, it was me and 2 employees, and they were technicians. They weren't sales. There was no office. We had 1 truck. So this wasn't
Not
here.
Like these big old things.
No, it wasn't like that. And so, you know, you can imagine in a 3,500 square foot warehouse when you have no shelves, nothing but 1 truck.
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
it's
that's a little bit intimidating. You're like, all right, I guess I got to come up with $100,000.
Yeah, but it was
It's out of 2
basically, it
years.
was, of the mentality of kind of like sink or swim, it was like, if we're gonna fail, like let's fail quick. I'd rather go bankrupt at 23 than go bankrupt at 30, So that was definitely the leap of faith, and it was of the mentality, kind of like we're baseball fans, the field of dreams.
Yeah.
You build it and they'll come, and so I wanted to have like a facility that would kind of coincide with the vision that I had with the company.
Absolutely.
And so fortunately now, it's worked out a little bit, and we didn't go out of business.
No, yeah, it sounds like you're expanding. I know you had mentioned that you're looking to get another truck, and obviously the supply chain and everything like that's affecting that side of things, but expanding, right? And you took that leap of faith. I mean, so you think about that. You've got a business idea, you've got a vision, you had your first warehouse, and you're like, you just said it, you wanted your warehouse and everything, your facility space to coincide with your vision, and you put all your finances and your life on the line to get to that point. And I mean, when you think about starting up and these mom and pops, these small businesses and everything like that, that's what they're doing. I mean, they're taking everything that they got, putting into that, and they've got to make it work because they don't really have any other choice. And that's what breeds success, is when you got option A and you got option B. A lot of times option A might not work out because you feel like you've got option B, but I feel like you're just like, I got option A and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically like the story of, burning the ships. I don't know if you've heard that story.
I have, yeah.
It's like, we're basically, you pull up to war at sea and you burn your ships. And so it's literally the only way that you're going home is if you beat the enemy and you take their ships back to your house, So it's, and then another, going off of that, my roommate's a golf pro at Ansley Country Club, and he asked me, he said, do you have another ball in your pocket? And I said, yeah. He said, get rid of it. He said, because just knowing that you have that other ball in your pocket, you're less likely to hit a solid shot the first time.
I got to do that. I suck.
And here I am with like 3 balls in my pocket.
Yeah, I'm like,
shotgun.
my dad always taught me, he's like, you better have that next one in there because we suck so bad, because we're literally just like, all right, hit, woods, put it back on, all right, hit again, that's in play, we're good.
Exactly.
But I always had that backup. All right, I'm never going to the tee with another golf ball in my pocket.
Now you know.
Just one. Now I know. That's good advice. Well, and so, like you said, burning the ships, you're going forward. I mean, that was really the only way to do it. And now, I mean, you mentioned like right now 10 people that you're employing currently, and it gets up to, you said 30?
Yeah, so we had the peak of the season for us, we had 20 people in the company. January, when we're filming this is the slowest month of the year. Sure. So, but yeah, this coming peak, we should have 30 people in the company. Like, so this May.
Yeah. Well, and tell me about that a little bit, because I mean, it's cool to kind of think about, all right, I'm supporting somebody's livelihood. That's something that you can go to bed on, and you can be like, I'm doing something good. You're able to give, people, and you said the average age is 25-ish.
Yeah.
Of guys here. So I mean, young guys that are coming out of college or wherever they're coming from, and you're able to put them up and give them a good paying job and have steady work and everything like that. Tell me about that kind of feeling of being able to support.
I mean, that's what it's all about. I mean, that's what kind of motivates me. It's really rewarding. We've got, we've got 19-year-olds that just graduated high school. They didn't just graduate high school, but right. Not too far off. And then we have a couple veterans. Mm-hmm. One in the Marines, one from the Marines, one from the Navy, and we've got a few other guys that recently graduated college. So it's awesome. I mean, just kind of seeing them succeed over time here. What's crazy is that so there's 10 people in the company right now if you include me. So there's 9 employees. Out of the 9, 7 of which have been here for almost a year or more. Which it didn't always used to be that way, but this year we've made even more of an emphasis on creating the best possible experience for them working here. So we just rolled out, they get free health care now, and, dental and vision and short-term disability and long-term disability. It's all free.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
So we were investing in our people, they get free breakfast. We provide breakfast every day. So, really just it's
that's what's up.
Yeah, so it's like
that's innovative right there.
We always just trying to, how can we better it? One thing that we just did was we just put microwaves in the trucks. So that way the guys
Microwaves
can
in the trucks, like this thing right here. It's got a microwave in it.
Yeah, yeah. So we got microwaves in there because again, it's kind of one of those things where, you know, when you're out on a job site, you know, what's the price on having hot food? You know, and especially right now. Yeah, when it's colder. So yeah, so we're, you know, but that's ultimately kind of one of the drivers is, you know, is to be able to provide that and, you know, and see people grow. And, you know, our operations manager, Matt, does a great job. And he started off as a technician, you know, and kind of worked his way up. And so that's what's really cool is just to see the development. And, you know, we played team sports.
Sure.
And, you know, there's something about being on a team sport. And so to have that and to be kind of like a combination of like a coach / GM kind of on a team, it's a lot of fun.
How do we find you?
I mean, we're on the different avenues. I mean, I think if you just Google WiseGuys, I mean, that'll pull us up. I mean, you can see a lot of our reviews on there. I mean, we're the highest rated in Atlanta.
Are you?
Yeah. So
That's
if you
awesome.
just type in pressure washing Atlanta, you'll find us. But you know, obviously we're on all those different avenues in terms of the website stuff.
Instagram, yeah, and all
Instagram and all that stuff. Yeah.
Well, we'll throw it up there for sure. I appreciate you taking the time. I know it was on a little bit of short notice, but getting together and having this conversation because, one, I think it's an important story to kind of show everything that you've been through, and then to watch it succeed and be in like those steps so far where you're already, I mean, you're progressing and you're building a company. It's pretty awesome to watch, and I mean, obviously, we haven't caught up so much in the past few years, but it's great to hear everything that's been going on. So thank you so much for coming on, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you having me. And I think, you know, if you're just starting out, I want you to know that it gets easier. You know, I remember in terms of if you're in that period of your business where it seems so hard, and you know, you can look at even where we are right now and you're like, how do you ever get to that point? I felt that way too.
Yeah.
You know, in the beginning in terms of, I didn't think there was any way that it was going to work. And so, you know, basically what I'm saying is that, you know, you can do it too. Just got to stay focused and, you
it's
know.
It's a grind for sure.
Yeah, but if you stick with it and, you know, and you surround yourself, you know, with the right people, I mean, you can make it work.
No, it's big time. Well, hey guys, I appreciate you tuning in to episode 5. This is WiseGuys Pro Wash, Wesley Bloom, Marchant Young. Share the episode. Guys, get this to your parents so they can get some pressure washing in, and we appreciate you guys tuning in. One purchase, one a month, and I direct that to WiseGuys Pro Wash. Thanks, guys. Take it easy. Boom. Well done.
Thanks.